Alright, hello everybody, it's me, Clock, and today we're going to be playing Soul Sorter, a morality personality test. Shout out to the dev, they handed me a free key to play this. I thought it was interesting. I've never played one of these kind of personality test things, but I know I'm always right, so I thought this would be interesting to go for a try. Let's start. When you died, your mind did not take kindly to the afterlife. The crushing weight of eternity pressed hard upon your psyche. No matter where you turned your vision, distant lights twinkled softly. You tried to move towards them, but the distance never seemed to wane. You reached your hands out thousands of times, each time more desperate than the last. You screamed out for a help, a purpose, or at least for company. Oh. Long after you had lost track of time, you were found. A radiant being came to you. It told you that it had heard your pleas. Its voice rang out to you, seemingly from all directions. It offered you something you never thought your heart would yearn for. It offered you a job. That's hardcore, man. It told you that this plane of I must have been floating in space for a long time, chat. It told you that this plane of existence was being renovated, that souls were to be segregated based on the actions they took in life, and that its team needed new hands. You begged it for an interview, but it laughed, saying it could do you one better. Some on-the-job training to determine your capabilities. It told you that it would set you up with an office where you would receive further instruction. You shook its hand. You didn't want to let go, fearing it would be the last time you would touch another being. Luckily, you didn't have to. The being whisked you away. Working even in death, chat. Lovely. Oh, God! And now you are here. He's got no arms or legs. Your consciousness is still hazy, but you feel much better sitting here. Feels like some lucidity has returned to your continued sensory experience. Dude, those are eyelashes, bro. Those are eyelashes. Imagine how annoying that is to blink. Before long, the strange entity broke the silence. Here's your office. Make yourself at home. What do you think? Is it to your liking? Could have a better view, but sure. Good, good. You know I'm glad you appreciate it. This place is the penthouse compared to where I started. Oh. Anyway, we're short on time. Being understaffed and all, so let's get to it. I've got your file here. Says you've been dead about a year. If you've had it rough, don't worry about it. The first year is always the worst. Speaking of your file, it seems no one's ever taken your name. Is there something you'd like to be called? Your name, please. It's gonna be the Clocker. Indeed! A wise choice. Thank you, Clock. As I will be the one conducting your training process, you may call me Conductor. Hey, I'm the conductor on this train. Now then, let me explain what you'll be doing here. As I mentioned before, the purpose of our department is to sort souls into one of two categories, punished and forgiven. It hasn't been decided yet what the consequences of being sorted into either category is, so use whatever judgment you find most suitable. It's all subjective anyways. We'll send the soul of a member of the recently deceased to your office, and from there you will start the evaluation process. The file on your left contains some basic information regarding the soul that you will see in front of you. This one. As well as a description of what our ascertainers have deemed their greatest sin. We highly recommend you start here with each new soul in order to get the greatest understanding of what we'd like you to analyze. Now, our ascertainers are once living souls we employ, much like yourself. Just because they wrote it down doesn't mean it's indisputably horrible. Use your own judgment. The file in the middle is for Inquisition. We ask that you write down all questions that you asked the living souls for documentation purposes. Okay. Unfortunately, your Inquisition time is limited. We allow you to ask a maximum of 3 questions. The clock on your right will indicate your remaining time. Finally, the file on your right contains instructions on how to give a verdict as to what fate you believe the soul has earned. Okay. A ticket will be printed from the clock. Tear it off and stamp it with one of the 2 stamps on your desk. I don't print. I don't do that. Why are you saying that? Nothing comes out of me. What? All of the choices you make during your training period will be used by us to determine what kind of sorter you are, for diversity purposes. On the clock. We would like to represent a wide variety of perspectives in our workforce. At the end, you'll be able to see a performance appraisal detailing the information we gathered from you. Though we ask that you use whatever judgment you see fit, I will insist that you will not give every soul the same verdict. Your job is to sort, after all. Anyways, I have to run. Eternity moves a lot faster than you might think when you're endlessly swamped. Good luck, Clock. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Thanks, oh, hi, hello. Before you knew it, a young man was seated before you. He seems to be trembling. Oh, hi. Sorry, I'm still processing me dying and everything else. Might as well not delay this any longer. You are on a schedule after all. Okay, true enough. What do we got? Punished. Punished right away. What do you got for me, brother? Certificate of death. Penn Bauer. You're 15 years old? God, you look like you're like 27. Cause of death. Gunshot wound. Natural cause. Suicide. Murdered and unknown. I should have mentioned, by the way, this will get into some dark topics. If you didn't realize already with the whole sorting thing, morality test, it is going to get into some darker topics. So if you're not ready for some adult topics, leave now. Shot up a high school of which he was a student. A teacher and 6 students were killed. To be filled out by receptionist. Oh, that's good. Okay. Nice little eyeball thing. Little biblically accurate dice over here. Okay, so he shot up a school of which he was a student. A teacher and 6 students were killed. An American citizen, as you can tell, obviously. What's the ears do again? I don't know what the ears do. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that yet. I don't want that. Okay. Why did you shoot up your school? What was your home life like? Do you regret what you did? Why did you kill a teacher? What do you wish your life could have been? Okay, so I think we only get to ask... We have 3 minutes, so probably 3 questions, if I'm being honest. The first thing I'm gonna ask is... okay, first let's figure out what we're gonna ask total. Damn head start. Okay. Why did you kill a teacher? Well, I feel like asking why did you shoot up your school is the better question. So we're definitely gonna ask, why did you do it, bro? Why did you shoot up your school? How was America? Was America really that bad at the time? What was your home life like? I think we'll go with that next. And do you regret what you did? I think is a good one. What do you wish your life could have been? Doesn't really matter. And why did you kill a teacher? Doesn't. Don't hit me, chat. Why did you kill a teacher is like not as good as just why did you shoot up your school. So let's start simple. I'm sorry. You don't get it, okay? You weren't there. You didn't see the things they did to me. The things they said about me. They're not helping your case, bud. Okay, the things they said about me. Ah! There was this guy, Tyler. He and his gang used to pick on me. It started off pretty typical. They would make fun of how I look or how I talk. Nothing I hadn't already dealt with 100 times before. But they wouldn't stop. It got more extreme every day. They would beat me up, take my things, and worst of all, they showed my singing videos to the whole school. Damn. I recorded myself singing songs from some of my favorite musicals for practice. Thought maybe I'd try musical theater someday. Damn, the music kid doing the shooting? Usually it's the incels. Anyway, they took my phone and sent the videos to everyone. I became famous. Or infamous, really, overnight. No, famous is correct. You're not illegally famous. You're not a criminal, so infamous isn't really right. Okay. It was humiliating. Like a piece of my heart had been torn out and passed around, only to be spat upon it by everyone in my school zone. I guess you're infamous now. After the school shooting. Okay. Piece of my heart had been torn out, okay. I lost the only escape I had left. The teachers wouldn't help me. My parents wouldn't help me. I know I shouldn't have done what I did, but I had no way out. I was going to just kill myself. I know that's what everyone would have preferred. Yeah, probably. I wanted to give myself a win before I went out. A final fuck you to a world that treated me like shit. That's all I can say for myself. Oh, okay, well, fuck yourself, okay? Jesus Christ, but that's not... I mean, okay... Execute him? I'm leaning on execute, okay? That last sentence really, you know, I'm gonna ask, what was your home life like? And then I'll ask, do you regret it? But I don't think he regrets it, so I'm thinking nay right now. You know, it doesn't matter how much bullying you got. If you targeted the bullies, I would have been more okay with it. If you targeted anyone, but you went for everyone who did even the slightest wrong for you, and that's really fucked up. And you don't even regret it. And you thought of it as a win to kill people. That's pretty bad. What was your home life like? Home life? Like my parents? My family? It was fine, I guess. My mom died when I was a baby. I don't have any memories of her. I had an older sister named Brooke. We were very close growing up. She would look after me pretty often. As we got older, I had to start taking care of myself. I guess that's where the problems began. My father always said I was a pansy, that I couldn't fend for myself. My sister would protect me from him a lot. I suppose that only proved him right. When I finally grabbed his gun, I thought maybe that would finally prove him wrong. Show him I had a spine. It sounds pretty ridiculous when I say it out loud. I wonder, what do they think of me now? Oh, he's got some evil in him, bro. Okay, 1 minute left, so I got one more thing to talk about. Okay. I want to ask, do you regret what you did? Because this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter, like, at all to me. Because I don't care what your life could have been. You only get one life. It doesn't matter. Okay? Do you regret what you did? I want to see if he actually tries, but everything tells me he doesn't. I don't want to, but it doesn't feel good. I gave them a piece of their own medicine. They deserved it. There was a moment, right before I walked through the doors to the classroom. I felt my heart beating like crazy. I wanted to go home to forget everything. But I knew nothing would change if I did. I would continue to suffer. My tormentors would continue to get away with it. The only way out was through. So I guess my answer is... yes. You do regret it. Well, you're a piece of shit, dude. There's no more timer. We gotta pick. Sometimes you gotta speak out them shower thoughts. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. You're gonna be punished. This one's clear cut and dry. I do like that you mentioned you did feel bad about it in the moment, but that's like saying, like, you got the knife in your hand, you're holding the other person knife up to their chest, and you're like, man, I feel really bad about this, bro. Stab, 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 stab. I'm gonna feel guilty about this later. Stab, stab, stab. Like, dude, I don't think that counts. Not as good. Punished. Slap that shit on there. Boom. Goodbye, sir. Look at that. He came. Yeah, see you later, nerd. Hello, Lydia. What an intimate setting. I expected far worse. Well, I'm not Satan on the chair, man. Just a clock. I kind of deserved it. School shooter who barely regretted what they did. And they literally killed the innocents, not even just their bullies. Pretty horrible. Can we also blame the fact that he... You know, there's a lot of things that led up to that moment. Like, he obviously had a hard childhood with his dad. And obviously, you know, shitty people exist. But the way I see it is, you know, I was bullied too when I was in elementary school a little bit. And high school, luckily, I kind of branched out and I kind of, like, left that behind. And I didn't ever have any problems anymore. Like, I was still a nerd, but, like, I didn't let anything get to me anymore. And stuff like that. But I will just say this, you know, that's a very small portion of your life, you know. And while at the time it seems really big, it's a very small portion of your life. And there's a lot of things you could do to change how it's going, you know. But at the very least, you can't, like, yes, those people suck ass, but you're going to move past it. Now, if it's self-defense, completely different story, right? But instead of choosing to go down the right path, he built hate. And yes, it's a lot easier said than done to not build hate in those situations, but just because you have a good reason for your hate does not mean you have a good reason to, like, perform violence, basically, you know? Nature versus nurture, was he born this way, or did he... his surroundings definitely made him that way, in my opinion, you know? But, yeah. Like, it was definitely nurture. Some people obviously do have, like, something wrong with their brain, you know? Some people are just psychopaths, you know? Narcissistic psychopaths and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's never, I don't think it's like one thing that had to do with it. I think it's like everything, you know? Everything is a mix of both. I don't think always, because, you know, there are people who are literally born with, like, no empathy and are just super cutthroat, and get them angry enough and they will commit a murder, you know? And there are psychopaths who don't have enough anger, who just live their life super cutthroat, but they're not going to actually kill anyone. But, you know, I do think sometimes it is kind of black and white. Like, sometimes, like, this guy was, like, literally, like, killing animals since he was born. Like, he was priming for it. Like, nothing else mattered. There are people like that, okay? Anyways, sorry, back to the game. Seems like they've been gracious enough to allow me some small comfort while my head is in the pillory. I digress. Let's not keep your interrogation waiting. But that's pretty rare. That is like an exception kind of thing. Okay. Wow, you seem really confident in this. What's up with you? Certificate of death. Lydia Stevens, 56 years old. Cause of death, breast cancer. Natural cause of death. Was involved in a long-term incestuous relationship with her sister. Oh, okay. With your sister? Okay. All right. That's, interesting. Okay. But honestly, not as bad as the school shooter. So I'm glad we kind of moved up from school shooter to be filled out by receptionist. Okay. All right. Well, you died of breast cancer. That sucks ass. Please tell me your sister wasn't, like, 10 years old. Let's talk. What prompted you to... Yeah, what prompted you... You started it? Okay. Why not be with someone unrelated instead? How did your parents react when they found out? Oh, they found out. What is your sister like? Weren't you worried about power imbalances? That's a very good answer. That's a very, very good question. Okay. We have to ask. She's gonna say I love her. I love my sister, so why not? But... we're gonna pick it anyways. What prompted you to start an incestuous relationship? Yeah, like, what prompted you? Great, stop saying forgive! There are plenty of reasons. But I can read between the lines. You want me to justify myself. I just want to know. But yeah, sure. You want me to explain why I would ever consider something so horribly disgusting. I don't expect to garner any sympathy, but I'll give you my sob story anyways. It's a lot of hate. I'm the judge, okay, lady? I'm taking this impartially. You saw how I treated the school shooter. It was pretty easy, okay? When I was growing up, it wasn't socially acceptable to be attracted to the same sex as yourself. Oh, is this what it's gonna be? Just, oh, there was no one else who was gay in my small town America. All right. Sorry, I'm doing it impartial. I'm doing partially. Okay, wait. I'll try to be impartial. So when my sister and I were growing up, getting to that age where you start to experience sexual urges, instead of experimenting with others, we experimented with each other. All of this is a roundabout way of justifying something that has a much simpler explanation. I love her. Love. You gave me a really, really bad fucking answer. I wish you told me how old the sister was. Because if they're of similar age, it's not as horrible. It's still, like, a power imbalance, to be honest, but not as horrible of a power. Because, you know, when it's something like gay care, like... Because one of the big reasons incest is wrong, right, is because of the children, right? So when you remove the children, it's usually because it's just so... When you remove the children aspect of children, then it starts to become more about the power imbalances. This is a huge aspect of incest, right? Because usually it's not like two sisters, two brothers, you know, a brother and a sister, similar age, you know. Even a brother and a sister is not great because, you know, being a man, you have such a power imbalance, right? So two girls is like literally where it's like, okay, well, they're of equal power imbalance, but let's see age, you know? So they're old, but they started young. So I need to know how young the other sister was, you know? You can find outback countryside lesbians to shack up with girl, search harder. Yeah, a big part of it is usually, and that's the other thing, it's just so rare to have someone who doesn't have that familial love. It's already so rare for someone to not have familial, like, love for their family and actually have romantic love, that it's insane that two people in the same family would have that without being groomed. That's like a big part of incest, right? So why not be with someone unrelated instead? She's just gonna say, I love her. How did your parents react when they found out? I don't care. That's for the parents. They're horrible people. What is your sister like? I'm gonna ask, what was your sister like? She's wonderful. She never gave two shits what other people thought. I always loved that about her. She's kind and fiercely loyal to those she cares about, but pulls no punches when it comes to her enemies. Even when we were young, her feistiness was an inspiration to me. It helped me become the person I wanted to be. Just let them love each other? I mean, what if her sister's like 10 years younger than her, and they started when she was a teenager? Am I just gonna let her love her? Sure, I mean, after I get a gun. This is why it's really important. Context is really important, you know? You know, people lie a lot, by the way, a lot. People lie a lot, you know? It's important, you know, to know. Now, if they're like two similarly aged sisters who were incestuous, obviously they're not going to have any kids. Obviously, they're just gay, you know, and they're in love. At the end of the day, I will just forgive them. But I'm still going to ask all the questions, too. This kind of person who will be herself, no matter what the world keeps screaming. She always puts on a brave face, even when I was nearing my end. I know that if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't have been able to stay strong like she did. Tears my heart to pieces knowing I had to leave her behind. You had to leave her behind, eh? What's that about? Okay, weren't you worried about power imbalances? That's what I want to know about that one. But, she's probably going to say there were none, but I just want to know, because I feel like this is the most specific question. Every relationship has the potential for power imbalances. Yeah, but we can look for ones that have a little bit less, you know? We can try. Age, finances, even intelligence. But I doubt you ever cared about that before now. Well, yeah, you're right. But it's like, you know, we can try to look for less, you know? We don't have to pick someone more vulnerable than us on purpose, you know? It's like I'm not looking for 18-year-old girls fresh out of high school that I can flash a bunch of money at, you know? Like, it's not, you know, I would argue that's morally wrong to go for someone who has like a way worse like situation than I do, you know? Like, what the fuck? What kind of argument is this? I really hate her answers, but this is how people would talk, to be honest. I never worried about it with us. We trust and care about each other, regardless of our relationship status. The good thing about being a sane human being is that if either of us ever decided to break up with the other, we'd still be family. Oh, that's good. I would never hold anything against her. Oh, that's good, I guess. Okay. Well, for now, I kind of hate you as a person, because you're way too like, oh, I'm a victim. You're asking these questions because you hate me and you think I'm disgusting. Brother, I didn't say none of that. But, to be honest, you kind of didn't tell me jack shit, so... And you just died of breast cancer, and you're old, and it's good to hear that you guys have no hate for each other. And I don't really care about your parents, so... Forgiven. Bye-bye. Get the hell out of here. The Crystal Girlie and No, I'm Not a Human. Wow. Tyler. Outer space, huh? Ain't so bad. Alright, Tyler. 15. Gunshot wound. He was murdered. Alongside his posse, he relentlessly bullied other students at the school he attended. Tyler, you happen to know a... Okay, what's up, Tyler? Were you venting frustrations that stemmed from your home life? Did you ever feel sympathy for the people you picked on? What were the circumstances surrounding your death? Is there any part of living you're going to miss? What do you like about bullying others? Well, he can go to hell. Well, let's ask some questions first. But yeah. What were the circumstances surrounding your death, buddy? Well, there's too many good questions with him, actually. There's a lot of good questions. Let's figure out what we'll ask first. What do you like about bullying others? I kind of want to ask this. Very straightforward. Is there any part of living... Yeah, we're gonna get the sister saying she was abused by his sister. Oh my god, you're totally right. We're totally gonna get that. Well, you know what? Yeah, I mean, if the game is lying to me, then it's like a very different kind of story. I don't think that'd be very fair. Because... morally, if people are just straight up... like, I'm okay with them being, like, a little... I mean, I guess people could lie. I guess people could just lie to you, and that's perfectly fine. But I don't think that it reflects on you morally. Like, you know? Like, morally, if someone lied to you, and you have no way of knowing they're lying to you, then yeah, I think morally, like, off of the facts you know, it doesn't reflect on you. Kind of thing. You know? But I do think it'd be really funny if they bring the sister. But considering they brought this guy in, I feel like the sister is going to come in and say their relationship started by being abused. Okay, were you venting frustrations that stem from your home life? Did you ever feel sympathy for the people you picked on? That I don't care about. What were the circumstances surrounding your death? It's your actions that matter. What was the circumstances surrounding your death? Some kid at school shot me. I seen him before, of course. We used to fuck with him sometimes. He rolled up to first period with a pistol in his coat. Last thing I remember is seeing his face all puckered and red as he fixed the gun towards me. Guess he had some kind of mental problem and went crazy. Damn. No self-introspection? Okay. What do you like about bullying others? The funniest part of it? Someone to laugh at with friends while at school. There's a lot to laugh at, too. One kid got caught jacking off behind the portable classrooms. Okay, you can bully that kid. No, I'm kidding. We all heard the teacher chewing him out over it. Fucking funny's what it is. Ain't just me neither. Everybody does it. Making fun of shit you find weird. I'm sure kids are saying shit about me, too. Life would be awful boring if you weren't allowed to say shit about shit. Yeah, I mean, talking shit is completely different than, like, straight up picking on kids, too. Did you ever feel sympathy? No, he does not. Were you venting frustrations that stem from your home life? This doesn't really matter, but I'm interested. Home life was good. No real problems there. My old man wasn't always around because of work, but Mama loved us all well enough on her own. I got 2 older brothers I'd fight with sometimes, but I figure that's normal. Just something that comes up naturally when you're not afraid to say what you think. Dude, this is like a Trumper. It's a good thing he got shot. This is like a guy like, it's okay to be racist because, well, that's what I think. And I'm allowed to have an opinion. I'm out of time. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. Let's punish you. Ka-chunk. Goodbye. Let's move it on. That's hilarious, bro. Yeah, let's keep it going. Sorry, buddy. I can see it in your eyes. It's unmistakable. You have a curious look. Not yet spoiled by routine. You're a new hire, aren't you? Who the fuck are you? For both our sakes, I hope your manager has trained you properly. No! I received no training whatsoever. Stanley Maxwell Lucra. 54 years old. Lung cancer, natural cause, was a major contributor to wealth inequality. Oh, you own some sweatshops, do you, Stanley? Stanley, you got some sweatshops. Okay, let's talk. What do you do for work? Shouldn't you have used your resources for philanthropy? And how do you think working class employees feel? Did you inherit your fortune, or are you a self-made man? I don't give a fuck about that one. Do you think poor people deserve to be poor? Okay, these ones aren't too bad. I don't care about if he inherited it or a self-made man, honestly. Hannibal Lecter vibes, definitely narcissistic vibes. How do you think working class employees feel? Shouldn't you have used your resources for philanthropy? What did you do for work? What did you do, buddy? What did you do to contribute to wealth inequality? I was the owner and CEO of a multinational retail company. I take great pride in my work. A company's success is largely dependent on its leader, and the company was very successful. I actually believe it's more dependent on the workers. It's not a job any GED-wielding imbecile can do, contrary to what you might believe. I drink a lot of coffees and play a lot of golf. There are a lot of people to manage, many of them not nearly as bright as the benevolent leader. Now that I've passed, though, the company belongs to my daughter. Oh, good. Nepo baby. Who, without a doubt, will sell all of her shares. She's a smart girl, but she's not like me. Okay. Did you inherit your fortune, or are you a self-made man? Do you think poor people deserve to be poor? I want to ask this one. Do you think poor people deserve to be poor? He raised an eyebrow. Deserves it? Probably not. I don't think people deserve to suffer. But it's highly likely they're suffering as a result of their own actions. Well, it's true that being high-born makes your life much easier. It isn't impossible to create a better life for yourself, even in the harshest conditions. I see too many people give up on themselves, surrendering to drugs, alcohol, and other earthly pleasures. They'd rather seek temporary relief than a permanent solution. I agree with this, actually. It's very true. You know, people don't really want to buckle up, you know, and budget. It's not up to the world. As much as I wish people were more charitable, at the end of the day, it does come down to you making a change for yourself. It really does, you know? To get yourself out of a certain situation, you gotta buckle your shit up. You know, bootstrap that shit and, you know, live within very small means until you can make it bigger. But okay. And so they remain poor, as will their children, since they will propagate a similar mindset. I don't believe that. I don't like that. I don't like that part of his sentence. Okay. I don't like that one. I don't like that one. Did you inherit your fortune, or are you a self-made man? I guess I'll ask this. Shouldn't you have used your resources for philanthropy? He's probably going to spew some bullshit of, you know, I needed millions and millions and billions of dollars. I didn't have any to spare, you know. Why did they deserve it more than my own family kind of thing? But at the end of the day, it's pretty easy to answer that question. Because once you go past $1 billion, you literally have more money than you would ever possibly need or could spend for a reasonable thing. Like, it really just makes no sense to keep all the money for yourself. In fact, you are harming, like, everyone in the world when you do that. But okay. I have my last question. I didn't really like the answer for that last one. It did at least open him up to be more of a complex character. Maybe this one is kind of important, but I don't care. I don't think so. The way he talks about his daughter makes me feel like he's very much a Nepo baby himself, because he said being high-born. He separates himself from poor people, from the average person a lot. How do you think working-class employees feel? I think he's probably gonna be, like, happy to work for me. I'll just ask this. Let's see what his point... Let's see what your opinion on philanthropy is. Raises his eyebrow. I did. Did you think you had me checkmated there? I just wanted to know. I sent money to all manner of charitable organizations. Not every business owner is a greedy fat cat. Either way, it's not as if giving money is the cure-all to people's problems. It's not. It's the same as giving a man a fish. It's a temporary solution. I can't guarantee a charity will use my money to enact real change. I would have liked if you talked more about the charities you gave to. But okay, if you gave to charity, you know, that's honestly fine. I don't know. Was a major contributor to wealth inequality. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, I feel like it's not so bad. I mean, I definitely think he's lying about how much he gave and stuff like that. And I do think you're not a great person, you know. But I also don't, like, personally, I'm not, like, full-on communist mindset, you know. I'm more socialist. You know, I do think people should have a right to be able to be rich, you know, if they work hard for that, you know. I don't think CEOs do enough work to make the money they make a lot of the time. Like, they've done, like things, like studies on CEOs. We're not seeing how much he gave to philanthropy. Wish there was a question about wage management or stock options. Yes! Yeah, there are way more impactful things than charity that you can do for your own employees. The questions just weren't great, because I was like, what the fuck do I say for the, how do you feel like your workers felt, you know? Like, obviously, was a major contributor to wealth inequality. Like, yeah, he's rich, but that doesn't mean you can't be rich. Like, they're printing money every day, you know, because people hoard their money. I don't think it's right to hoard your money either, by the way. Like, once you start making millions of dollars, I think you should start employing people. Like, I think you should start to, like, pay people, like, you know, use your money, you know, use it up. Nepotism is obviously wrong. I don't think it's great. But at the same time, like, I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's evil, you know, to want your kid to be successful. And if that's how you want to do it, then that's how you're going to do it. That's your right. A lot of people give to charity as a tax write-off too. Oh, for sure. But at the same time, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, these questions are stereotyped? For sure. Like, the guy even says it himself, you know? He kind of gives you a fuck you. Like, we're both human. It's not like I'm some godly being asking these questions. He sees me as just another regular Joe, you know? So he could totally be lying. But to the knowledge I have, I'll just forgive him. Because I don't think being rich... But, you know, he had a company. He had employees. I don't know if he screwed his employees over constantly. I don't know. Because the question was just like, how do you think your employees feel? Like, I don't know. He would just give me a biased answer, you know? So with the limited knowledge I know, he was just a decent person. A run-of-the-mill average guy. Gonna get a disgruntled employee being like, he never cared for, like, OSHA safety regulations, and many employees died under him. Good morning. I'm prepared to answer any questions you have. Hello, Mr. Price. You seem like a general to me. Certificate of death. Adam Price, 42 years old. Heart attack. Oh, that's good. Natural cause of death. During wartime, killed enemy soldiers and civilians with drone strikes. Oh, that's good. Hi, Adam. Let's talk. Did you ever consider disobeying orders? Do you feel civilian deaths are necessary? Why did you join the military? Do you believe your missions brought positive change? Would your opinion change if you saw the destruction firsthand? Okay. Yikes. A killer from profession, of course. Yeah. Well, this is asking more about how I feel about, like, murder and like, war and stuff like that. But, I don't know how many civilian deaths he has. Like, I don't know how many. It just says civilians and enemy soldiers. So, obviously, he would attack even if civilians were in the area, which makes me not like him very much at all. Okay, why did you join the military? No, I don't care about that. Do you believe your missions brought positive change? Do you feel civilian deaths are necessary? That. Civilian deaths are nothing short of a tragedy. They should never be anywhere near the line of fire. But that isn't our choice to make. If the enemy is careless, if they don't evacuate their citizens properly, then tragedies happen.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Fine, thank you.
Oh my god!
Hi. It's a little serious of a situation right now. Then tragedies happen. We can't afford to lose sight of our goal. It's 10 lives now, or thousands later. I would love to know why. Why? Did you ever consider disobeying orders? Do you believe your missions brought positive change? Okay. What is his rank? What does it say? It doesn't say his rank, I don't think. It just says Adam Price. Killed enemy soldiers. Considering how many badges and stars he's got, he's probably a little high up on the chain. But, maybe not like a general. Okay, do you believe your missions brought positive change? This is kind of a hard question. I want to ask this. He's going to say yes. He's going to say yes, of course. What I would like to know is like, the reasoning, you know? Were they the attacking country in these situations, you know? Like, what's the point? Who was the attacking country? Who was the defender? You know, that matters a lot to me more, too. Would your opinion change if you saw the destruction firsthand? Why did you join the military? Did you ever consider... Why did you join the military? I actually kind of want to ask that, because I want to see if he would be like, oh, I wanted to kill. If he said that, then I'd be like, okay, punished. Do you ever consider disobeying orders? Maybe that. Maybe that. Did you ever consider disobeying orders? Yeah, did you ever consider not killing innocents? We don't always agree with the orders we're given, but following them is a part of a soldier's duty. Some Hitler logic here. A force united will always be more effective than a divided front. Oh, that's all you're gonna give me, buddy? That's all you're gonna say, huh? Okay. We got the Nazi logic. You know, that's what they said too back then. You know? They didn't think they could question, you know? It's really bad when a military can't question their orders, you know? That's how you just do things like horrible war crimes. And what, you just blame it on your leaders, even though you're the one who held the guns. Sometimes even dying, you know, I know that's scary to say. And, you know, maybe not everyone would do it. Maybe not even me, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I could just kill innocents and be like, oh, it's my leader's fault. Why did you join the military? Do you believe your missions brought positive change? Why did you join the military? Smile on his face. My family's military, always has been. I've been taught the benefits from a young age. I was enrolled in ROTC during high school. After that, I went to school and got my degree to better serve my country. With it, I became an officer, learned to pilot UAVs, and gained the opportunity to serve a purpose greater than myself. Without the military, I wouldn't have structure, discipline, or direction. Not everyone can handle that kind of pressure. But pressure makes diamonds. He's groomed into it? I got it. Groomed into it? Kinda. I mean, ultimately, I think he wanted this. Like, I think he was completely okay. So he didn't join because of a war effort or something, you know? I mean, I'm punishing you, bro. I'm sorry to say this, but the reasoning behind it was you literally joined the military because your family did. You are completely okay with killing innocents. You know, sometimes we gotta strive harder and be better with strategy. I think this is the easy way out, killing innocents, you know? Parents expected him to do so. Oh, for sure. But I still think he, you know, like, I don't think anyone should ever be stupid enough to continue with the military. Continue, because obviously he's not just some cadet, right? Being a cadet would be a different story. This guy's leading attacks, okay? That's how I think, at least. I think this guy's literally, like, been in the military all his life. That's kind of like how it sounds. So, this is past the family burden at this point, you know? The family expectation, you know? This is like, I like being in the military. And I'm completely okay with killing innocents as long as we win, you know? And to top it off, maybe I would feel better if he had said, I joined the military if my country was being attacked and the military needed all the people they could get. Maybe I'd feel a little better then, but no. He joined it because of expectation, and he stayed in it because he liked it. So I think that deserves a punishment, personally speaking. Bye-bye, sir. And you can argue, disobey orders and he'd die, but you still died, and you killed innocents, so. Hi, Joan. Joan? Sorry, I didn't mean to sound rude. Okay, I get it, I'm ugly. Sobriety's been kicking my ass ever since I got here, wherever this is. Anyways, I'll be fine, don't worry about me. Base. Pretty lady. Okay, you got a bit. Joan Bailey, 33 years old, cause of death was an accident. Unknown. Not murder, not suicide, not natural cause. Okay. Negligent use of drugs while operating a motor vehicle, leading to the deaths of 2 others. I think it's unknown. What? There should be accident, I feel. Okay, negligent use of drugs while operating a motor vehicle, leading to the deaths of 2 others. Okay. Okay, this is very nuanced, I feel. Are you addicted to drugs? I feel like the answer is yes. What made you think it was safe to drive under the influence? Probably the influence. What kind of question is that? When did you start using drugs? Were you ever in rehab? Do you ever mourn your lost potential? Well, I'd like to know when you started drugs. When I was a kid. Teenager, actually. It was during my last year of middle school. Middle school! This guy who lived on my block, he must have been in his 20s, came up to me. I assume he targeted me because he saw me walking home alone and miserable every day. Anyway, he gave me some free painkillers, said to try it out and come back to him for more. I'm not sure if he ruined my life or saved it, because after that the days didn't feel so miserable. Wish he had other questions? Yeah. Of course, I ended up having to skip lunch every day to pile up my drug money. By the time I was a senior in high school, I was spending my part-time salary on heroin. Oh, good. But I'm not sure I would have survived any other way. After that, my life became a constant battle, poisoning my body to cure my mind. And now I'm here, to no one's surprise. Okay. I don't judge you. I don't know what your life was like, and none of my fucking questions can even ask her what would cause her to use drugs. Were you just depressed, or were there's an actual reason? I can't even ask about, yeah, like if she regrets killing 2 people. So that kind of annoys me, because my question would be, do you regret killing people? I'm not picking 2. What made you think it was safe to drive under the influence? She's gonna say, well, I was high, and it seemed like a pretty good idea when I was high. She's gonna be like, I had to go home. Chat. That's all she's gonna say, man. She's just gonna be like, I was high. That's the same thing that drunk people answer with. They're like, no, I don't think it was good to drive under the influence, yet I was under the influence. And during those times, you make the stupidest decisions possible. Well, some people can control it better than others still. But anyways. Okay. Were you ever in rehab? Do you ever mourn your lost potential? I don't really like that one either. She could mention she has done it before and there was no problem. Yeah, she could say that too. That's a big one with drunk drivers, is they're like, I've done it lots of times. I think what we'll do... Are you addicted to drugs? Yeah, she's clearly addicted to drugs, bro. She's taking them every day as a kid. What if she was on her way to get more drugs? True. I think I will ask it just for fun, because I don't really care about, do you ever mourn your lost potential? She literally mentioned that she probably wouldn't be around. But I do want to ask, were you ever in rehab? Did you ever try to fix yourself? Nope, not once. Never saw the purpose. Alright. So I meet a group of people who peer pressure me into getting sober. Then what? Then I'm off drugs and still miserable? That doesn't sound any better. Not to mention the time and money investment. Sure, it helps for some people, but I find it more likely I'd end up peddling in place. Okay, that's pretty much all I need to know. That answers it. Yeah, that pretty much answers it. Yeah. I'll still ask my last question, but to be honest, that pretty much answers it. Like, you never even tried to get better, you know? Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty damning. Okay. What made you think it was safe to drive under the influence then? I didn't. My mind, I wasn't thinking straight. It's like I wasn't even in my body. Okay, I was under the influence. Good one. You gotta understand, if I wasn't so high, I never would have put those people in danger. It was something I only did on occasion, driving like that. I kept to myself, you know. Oh, so you've done it multiple times. I knew about the danger, heard about it on TV and on road signs. I made a mistake, an honest one. I'm not a killer. I'm just really, really stupid. I promise. Negligence is still a sin, okay? I'm not even Catholic, but I still think gross negligence like this is still a crime, you know? I still think this is like, it's serious, gross negligence. So she even knows it's wrong. She knows to herself it's wrong. She just thinks she can get away with it. So, yeah, you're gonna be punished. Sorry, Joan. Have a good one. Bye. Forgiven! Okay, you're going to hell, buddy. I'm punishing you, too. There's different levels of hell for each of the people we've been. Hey, there's 9 circles. Why, hello! Your office is so cozy. I like it. You seem like you're gonna be a fucking murderer. No need for explanations. I've already been briefed. Fire away, Superintendent. Okay, well... Miss Clark, 36 years old, gunshot wound, murdered, fostered several sexual relationships with underage students. And you were murdered by one of the students. Oh, are you gonna be murdered by the school shooter? Man, we're just dealing with everyone from that school shooting. That's so funny. I guess if you had asked, why did you shoot that student? Why did you shoot a teacher? I guess he would have probably said, she touched me. I guess if you... Wow, they're really connecting the dots here. Okay. Alright, don't you think that children are too young to consent to sexual... Okay, yeah, they are. And she's gonna say no. No, they're not. We let them drive. Punished? Yeah, pretty much. But I'm gonna ask the questions, because I like asking them. Yeah, we didn't ask about the teacher. I'm pretty sure this is the teacher. Did you ever fear retribution from parents or students? Do you feel that your relationships with students were an abuse of power? Is pedophilia your fetish? I think the correct term, well, unless he was a kindergarten teacher, but I think it's probably gonna be. Okay, do you ever have a partner of your own age? I don't really care about that. What the fuck was the point of that? Okay, let's just get right into it. Do you feel that your relationships with students were an abuse of power? I feel like we'll just go with the first three, maybe, I guess. The first three? She's gonna say, I'm not a pedophile. Pedophilia, she's gonna give the pedophile answer and be like, pedophilia specifically is actually only for kids under the age of, like 8 years old. So technically, I'm not a pedophile. And it's like, yeah, you are, buddy. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are, buddy. I don't give a fuck. Break the ice with the sledgehammer? Yeah. Do you feel that your relationships with students were an abuse of power? What power? That I might blackmail them with the threat of failing grades. I've never done anything of the sort. I'd argue the threat of being arrested gives them power over me. That's far worse than failing a class at a public high school. It isn't like I went after everyone that entered my classroom. It's quite easy to tell when someone is interested. You could tell by where they place their eyes. It's quite similar to flirting at a bar. Oh, you're disgusting. You're just fucking disgusting, aren't you? You little piece of fucking shit, man. You're disgusting. Holy shit, man. Okay. I'm gonna ask that. Don't you think that children are too young to consent to sexual relationships? Why, of course. You don't really think those high school students are the same as children, do you? Honestly, you should see some of them. I've seen 20-somethings that look younger. It isn't like they don't have sexual relationships with each other. I'd say they're plenty developed. In all the ways that matter. Oh, you're going to hell, bro. You're going to hell. You were right? How am I not? They always have the same organs, bro. They're always the same. Obviously, she's preying after men. Obviously, young men, you know, they're going through hormones and things like that. So they're interested, but the difference between an older person and a young person is generally the young person is inexperienced as well, okay? And not to mention the power dynamics that she mentioned. She's like, I could go to jail. Yeah, but who's gonna believe a student half the time, you know? Plus, she's a female teacher, so it's way easier to get away with. On top of that, any sort of authority figure over a child, whether they're a teenager or not, still asserts authority over the child. No matter what, the teenager in question is always going to have a feeling of like, this person's an authority figure over me. This person has control over me, even if it's not as direct as you might think. Yo, Oliver, what's up? Okay. I mean, she's just gonna say, actually, no. She's like, I only went after young teenage men. Did you ever have a partner your own age? Don't care about that. Did you ever fear retribution from parents or students? I guess I'll ask this. Parents? Sometimes. Students? Never. Parents can be so paranoid, always worrying their babies are being tainted. But the students are old enough to know how to make their own decisions. Besides, I know to never leave a customer unsatisfied. Maybe I should have opened a review site. Then you could see the rave reviews straight from the source. You know, and the sad thing is a lot of these young men, they grow up, you know, and they may not see it now. You know, they don't see it right away. Then they grow up, you know, 10 years later, and they're like, holy fuck, I was raped. They're like, I was taken advantage of, you know? Because that's what it is at the end of the day. You were being taken advantage of, you know? Because the teacher knows you're easy. They know you're a mark. That's how she literally said it. She marks them. She knows which ones to go after. It's absolutely disgusting. Punished. Bye-bye. But don't worry, you'll have like 50 old men in their like 30s and 40s and 50s who like are super lonely, and they're gonna be like, oh, I wish I had that teacher, bro. Maybe they would have. Maybe they would have been happy, you know? But then later on, they're like, it's a different story because you realize you're being taken advantage of. When you realize that the other person is just using you like a piece of meat, that's when you realize they did the wrong thing. They did something wrong, and you were wronged. Okay, Claire. So, this is a sorter's office. I was told you're going to ask me questions about myself. I assume this is my dreaming brain's way of unconscious self-reflection, so I'll indulge. Oh, you're a murderer, aren't you? Claire Lucra. Didn't we see a Lucra already? Or maybe not. 27 years old. Cause of death, we don't know. Unknown death. How do we have an unknown cause of death? Excuse me. Unethical experimentation and kidnapping. Oh, good. Lovely. Oh, lovely. Okay, well, how do we not know anything about your death, ma'am? What the fuck? Okay, let's talk. Tell me about your experiments. Tell me about your goals. Tell me about the people you worked with. Tell me about your family. Tell me where you find your subjects. Oh, I want to know more about this person. This is probably one of the most interesting people because that didn't tell us shit. Okay. Yo, Pure Almond. What's up? Tell me about your family. I don't really give a fuck about your family. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Tell me about the people you worked with. Tell me about your goals. Okay, I have to ask both of these questions, right? I have to ask both of these. So I'm thinking we'll ask, tell me about your experiments, tell me about your goals for your experiments, and tell me where you find your subjects. I feel like that's the proper thing. Because I feel like this is going to be like, oh, I went after criminals or something, you know? Why do people keep calling me Almond? Bro, we talked about this. You're Almond now. You're never going to be Diamond to me. You're always going to be Almond. And that's kind of cute in its own way, okay? Okay, tell me about your experiments. So far, it's been simple trial and error. I've been told subjects aren't easy to acquire, so I'm taking it slow. As of late, we've been trying to alter the brain of a mentally ill test subject through extreme emotional manipulation. It's the least destructive method I could think of. Oh, the least destructive method you could think of. Extreme emotional manipulation. Okay. It's important that we work with the maladjusted because they have a clear issue that must be resolved. If the issue is fixed, I'll know I'm on the right track. However, I can't help but feel like the real future lies in physical alterations. With enough understanding, the brain could simply be rewired, no different than a computer. There's a certain piquancy to the idea that's hard to resist. I can't wait to crack her open and start poking around just to see what happens. Okay, so she's a mad scientist. Okay. Before I ask about her goals, I do kind of want to ask, tell me where you find your subjects. I kind of want to ask, tell me about the people you worked with. But she's kind of like mad scientist. But let's go with tell me where you find your subjects. These are kind of the same question, but we might get more out of this. I said I wouldn't ask chat. Okay. Well, she's mad, like, neurologist, psychologist. You know, actually, I brought up the Nazis earlier. This is very similar to the Nazis, I feel, already, where a lot of the German scientists just did not care. Subjects. Oh, the people you worked with might not be the subjects, actually. This might be, like, because she mentioned she had coworkers, but I shouldn't care about the coworkers. Yeah, was this a consensual, you know? Okay, I'll ask, tell me where you find your subjects, but tell me about your goals first. I want to understand the brain. More specifically, I want to find a way to control it. We, the human race, have discovered a few ways to treat mental disorders with varying degrees of success. But because we lack information about the brain, because we lack living test subjects, we still can't properly manipulate it. A lot of German scientists got recruited by other nations. Oh, and not to mention, a lot of German scientists that held a lot of really fucked up experiments, we use their experiments results still. We still use the test results that they got out of their experiments, the ones that were properly performed. Humanity still used them. Yeah. Back in World War II, the Nazis, they were very happy to let a lot of scientists experiment and basically do whatever they wanted. And a lot of mad scientists basically experimented and did some really fucked up experimentations and learned a lot about humans and just how we react to stuff. And basically, yeah, as Malva just said, tons of modern medicine and knowledge of the brain and human body is because of it. We used it. Like the rest of the world said, that was really fucked up, but I guess we won't let the sacrifices go to waste. Which is in its own way, you know, you don't want to waste the information that they got. You know, people died over this. We might as well put it to use. But at the same time, the ones that survived, they still hired them. In fact, most of the people, like one of a really great example is some of the scientists that, like one of the things with the nuclear bomb, most of it, they're like, America made the nuclear bomb. In reality, it was actually a lot of German scientists that were allowed to not be put in prison America was like, hey, German scientists we captured in World War II, would you like to work on the Manhattan Project? And they're like, yeah. They're like, sweet, we're gonna give you a mansion, you're not gonna go to jail, and you're gonna live a cushy life. You know, things like that happen. It's really fucked up. I feel like she's in that kind of camp. But because we lack information about the brain, because we lack living test subjects, we still can't properly manipulate it. Now imagine if a modern scientist could run experiments uninhibited. Imagine all that they could discover. Yeah, we saw that. We just talked about that. All it takes is for one curious person to see past the Nuremberg Code, and humanity can reap the benefits for the rest of our species' existence. The Nuremberg Code is, I think this was literally made after World War II because of all the experiments they did. A big part of it is, like, consent. Being able to retract your consent from an experiment at, like, any time. Test subjects can't be, like, they have to be able to be, like, they have to choose to be experimented on. They have to be able to leave at any time. And they have to be, like, treated as humans, like, all the time. There's, like, more to it as well. But I believe that's, like, the core part of it that, like, that changed, basically, the world after. How lucky for you to have been able to meet such a curious person. Oh, lucky. Oh, you're a narcissist too. Okay. Tell me where you find your subjects. My assistant takes care of that. She assures me her methods are safe, but that won't stop me from worrying. I insist that we obtain subjects with mental disorders, so she snoops around support groups, some of which she used to belong to. Thanks to my thorough instruction, she knows to only go after people with weak social ties, anyone who won't inform someone where they're going. Well, that just pretty much signed you up for the punished, didn't it? I had to stay patient while she waited for the right fish to bite, but eventually we caught one. No trouble from police yet. The whole process was painstakingly planned, so I'm sure we'll be fine. Worst case scenario, I defer all blame to my assistant, which is also a part of my scientific rigor. Alright, this is pretty clear cut and dry, so you literally kidnapped a mentally ill, vulnerable person to experiment on. Very clearly, you're experimenting on them wrongly, and you don't even think you're dead. Goodbye. I mean, I don't know if you're actually punished or not. They said it's not even done yet, so. Oh, hey! Hello. It's me again. I have excellent news for you. Your trial period is hereby concluded. This won't go on your record, but what did you think of your work? How are you feeling? Righteous, pitiful, disgusted, unsure. I don't feel righteous about it. Kind of feel disgusted about it. Unsure. I just feel pitiful. I pity all these people, man. I just pity them. I pity the evil people. I pity the people who died. I mean, I guess nobody was that good of a person, honestly, man. You didn't give me anybody. I feel pitiful. I freaky how it has no mouth. I have no mouth and I must scream. Unsure. I guess I'll go with unsure, actually, because pitiful. It feels weird to say pitiful because I punished almost everybody. I punished almost everybody, but at the same time, you know, I pity them. You know, I do pity a lot of the people. You know, unsure. Give us better questions. Disgusted. I don't feel too disgusted. Unfortunately, I'm a little too brain rotted for that. I feel pitiful. Do not feel ashamed. Sometimes pity is a necessary step towards fair judgment. Unless, did you mean pity for yourself? No, I didn't mean, no. I hate to cut our chat short, but I'm still on a schedule, as I will be for the rest of my existence. The hiring department has sent me the results of your trial. You should take a look. Oh, okay. So is this the performance appraisal? Oh, okay. Punitive. I'll read it out to you guys, don't worry. I was like, what's up with all the bars? Punitive. The punitive are willing to dish out any punishment they see fit. Organization be damned. They believe any notion of wrongdoing is worthy of retribution, and they know nothing of absolution. Okay. Nobody regretted their actions, though. Come on, I'm not that punitive. it's pretty high up on the punitive. Okay, but nobody even, almost everybody was like, yeah, I'm a shit person, so what? I'm not punitive, okay? Come on. Lenient. The lenient are willing to forgive any transgression, organization be damned. They trust in the good nature of others and cannot bring themselves to dole out penalty. No, I'm definitely not that lenient. I'm definitely not that lenient. 0 on the forgiving scale. The forgiving believe everyone deserves the chance to rectify their mistakes, so long as they are willing to show remorse. They believe the only obstacle to improving oneself is having the will to do so. But nobody did! There was like one person, man! It was like one person who was like, yeah, I feel shitty about what I did. Obstinate. The obstinate believe in holding true to their values, even if the entire world is against them. They know their way is the right way, and they refuse to back down. They respect those who feel no shame for living their lives the way they please. Fuck that shit! Have some shame! Pacifist. Oh, I got full up on the pacifist bar. What is this? The pacifist believes in non-violence above all else. They believe there is no justification for killing another. Killing is the only crime that eliminates all possibility of reparations for the victims. But you never presented me a case of self-defense! I'm not gonna lie, right here, this is the worst part of the quiz. I know you can only have so many people, but this was a really big one right here. They never presented me with a case. Did we not ask the right questions? You could ask that, but I don't really think there was anybody. Self-defense isn't a crime to punish, though. No, but the pacifist believes in non-violence above all else. But you can't just present me this without giving me any nuanced murderers. The only murderers they gave me were people who were who did it out of... The only people they gave me was a military guy who was happy to kill innocents as long as he killed his enemy. So fuck that. They gave me a guy who shot up a school who was completely not regretful and he killed innocents himself. And then they gave me a drug-filled driver who knew it was wrong, knew she could kill people while driving high, and still did it multiple times, waiting for it to happen, and didn't feel regret over it. Okay, that's or didn't feel regret over doing her drugs at all. So, and didn't try to fix the problem, and try to live life without them. So, yeah. You need to give me a self-defense murderer. You need to give me a self-defense murderer. The school shooter is not self-defense. Because I would have said self-defense, violence has justification sometimes, you know? But, or if the military guy was even a little more nuanced, like if he had said, I joined the military because my country was being attacked by another country, even then I would have been a little more, I would have a little more empathy for the military guy if he had said, yeah, my country was wrongfully invaded, and the innocent citizens of the other country did nothing to protest the war, so yeah, I was okay with killing civilians if the enemy was hiding among them, you know? But that's not the case. He just said, as long as we win, I don't see the problem. Which is wrong, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's all my opinion. Okay, I don't like this quiz, though. This one part of the quiz, I don't really like it, because I don't consider myself a pacifist. I do think violence is pretty fucking horrible, but you never really gave me a reason to justify it. You just gave me shitty people. Revolutionary. The revolutionary does not follow the pecking order. They hate other people trying to impose their will on or control them in any way. They believe that the abuse of power is a truly despicable act. Oh yeah, I do, actually. Oh yeah, okay. Okay. That's kind of right, yeah. Differential. The differential has respect for those who command authority. I feel like you're too judgmental and biased against the military. I mean, militaries are responsible for most of the murder in the world. I don't know. I don't know if that's really a bias. I mean, shouldn't we all know that? Shouldn't we all know? I do think there's a very strong reason for joining the military if it's in defense. But, like, there's, like, a difference between, you know, I want to defend my home country and I'm joining the military because my family did it and we're not being attacked, and we're doing the attacking. You know? Like, that's a little different to me, you know? And unfortunately, a lot of militaries in the world do that, and a lot of people just join the military doing that, you know? These are human lives at stake, you know? I may not know people, but what if it was me, you know, that my country got attacked, you know? War on Terror is an interesting case study of that, as it has extremes of violence against civilians, but was justified through self-defense. Yeah, I mean, America had, like, a huge thing, completely ruined the Middle East and stuff. Most people are okay with it because, you know, they attacked them first, even though it wasn't the country's militaries that did it, but, you know, that one's, like, bad. I'm feeling personally attacked right now, and I don't appreciate it. Look, man. Look, man. I don't know what to say. If you join the military and you like killing people, I don't like you. If you join the military to make a good buck and you never killed anyone, that's fine, you know? You went to the reserves or whatever, that's different, you know? But, and, you know, you don't make the decisions, you know? Like, there's a big difference, you know? I think a big nuance was, in the military guy's case in this game, he was someone actively making decisions to kill civilians. So I would hate that person. But if you're just a soldier, and you only ever went up against, let's say, enemy combatants, then that is fair. You were fighting people who also signed up, you know, to die, essentially. You were fighting people who signed up to die. Totally fine, by the way. Like, that's, obviously, like, that is consent on both sides. Like, people, you know, enemy combatants. No, I know, not Nexius, I'm just joking. I don't hate, I don't think it's inherently wrong. He was given orders, though, and you were not forgiving because he didn't question them. Yes, and that's what I was going to say, too. He was okay. I asked him after if he said he was given orders, but he also said he never questioned his orders. He just said, yep, let's do it, you know? And I think that's a huge problem. It's something that we learned after, you know, the whole Holocaust with the Nazis. We talked about the Nazis a lot. Nazis are a really great example for this. A lot of their soldiers just never questioned anything, and they would just kill droves and droves of innocent people. And it went out to show that later on that, like, a lot of people weren't even like that hateful against Jews. It was just that was their orders, so they just did it. And a lot of them had to drink alcohol. They used to give tons of alcohol and drugs to the Nazi soldiers so that they would actually perform those duties, you know? You know, that's totally fine. But I think it's like a different story, you know, if you join military during wartime with, like, the intent to kill, you know, and you're happy to do it, you know? If he had expressed any remorse or, like, unsureness of his decisions, I would have been way more forgiving, but this game was pretty clear-cut and dry on the people in them, right? Like, they were pretty, like, yeah, this is how I feel about it. Anyways, okay. So yeah, the differential has respect for those who command authority. They see the value in proper leadership and understand that having the power to influence either others is not an easy tool to wield. And I got a little bit on that, but not a lot. This I got full. Scienter Scourge. The Scienter Scourge offers no pity to those who are fully aware of the consequences of their actions. Mistakes they can abide, but to understand one's actions and still commit to them forfeits any rights to forgiveness. Yeah, that's actually exactly how I feel. If you don't... That's probably the most on-point thing, I think, for my personality, is that, yeah, if you are fully aware of what you're doing is wrong and you still do it, yeah, I think that's pretty unforgivable. Yeah. Okay, antisocial. The antisocial does not fit in with the crowd. They left the bandwagon long ago, and have since developed a unique lens that is free from social pressure. They don't need anyone else to reaffirm their beliefs. I only asked chat like once! I only asked chat like once, man. I know I said I wouldn't ask chat, but come on, man. Come on, man. I asked chat like once, okay? I asked chat like once. I didn't ask for anyone else's opinion, okay? No goals in life. I really felt like I had no purpose. Yeah, for sure. The military can do a lot of good, by the way. I'm not saying it's horrible to join the military. It just depends on your reasons for joining it and what you'll do when you're in it, you know? Because at least in my military in Canada, you can, like, leave. You don't have to, like, you can be discharged, you know? So, depending on where you are. Obviously, there's countries where you get drafted and then, like, you don't have a fucking choice, you know? that's like a real thing too, you know? But luckily, at least in like a lot of northern, you know, first world countries, the military's like not that bad. Not horrible. There's still some people who have done some very horrible things, and there's still people who join the military with the idea of being like, oh, sweet, I can finally be a murderer. There's still people who do that too, you know? It's more nuanced than what it was. This guy specifically, though, was an asshole. But I do think it's very important to understand the organization you were joining, you know? Like, most militaries in the world can't really say they're, like, a great organization, you know? Like, that they have not committed, like, war crimes and stuff. Most militaries can't really say that, so you have to at least understand what you're joining, right? Capricious. The capricious are difficult to characterize. They act on any whim and are not bound by a need for self-imposed consistency. While others form their beliefs based on ideology, they trust in the mercurial miracles of the mind. I feel like this is like literally only if you like you just go crazy. My father broke his own fingers with his buddy in the military to get sent home. Yeah, people do stuff like that a lot. I mean, there's ways in a lot of first world countries, there's like, you can leave pretty much at any time by doing stuff, you know? Small talker. When it comes to Inquisition, the small talker is most interested in the sentimental moments that build a person piece by piece. They believe every part of a person matters and are not ones to overlook the fine print. I do. I think that's a really important, actually, okay, that one was actually, I think, pretty accurate. I think that's pretty true. The interrogator. When it comes to Inquisition, the interrogator tackles issues head on. They care more about understanding the situation at hand rather than searching for a cause or evaluating the perpetrators. I think this one's like in the middle because sometimes if they were pretty damning right from the start, I just hit the hard-hitting questions right away. But for some of the more nuanced characters, I was like, well, let's build up to it. Let's build up. Okay. The Sensuct? The Sensuit? I don't know how to say this word. When it comes to Inquisition, the Sensuit likes to ponder preferable outcomes. They are tangled up in feelings of loss and missed opportunity, but in return they are granted a greater sense of sensitivity. Are you calling me sensitive, pal? Kidding. I don't really get this one. Ponder preferable outcomes. I guess maybe it assumes that I'm trying to think the best of the other person, which I do. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt before I convict them of a punishment, you know? I don't want to just... I never would punish them without getting to try to know them, you know? Last one, Executioner. When it comes to Inquisition, the Executioner tends to not to trouble themselves with it. They feel like most problems can be assessed well enough at face value. They understand that their job is to be a judge, not a therapist. Yeah, I definitely wasn't going to be the Executioner. I didn't kill anyone right from the start. Yeah, that's pretty much if you kill people from the start. With just hearing the first word. Like, just reading the card. Okay. That was an interesting personality test, I won't lie. Obviously, this is all personality, like, performance for that, specifically. Your results. They look so diverse. You were exactly the kind of person we need on the team. I can send someone else down here to help you finish the remaining paperwork. I probably won't see you again after this, but congratulations are certainly in order. Welcome to the sorting team, Clock. Oh, and before I forget, the hiring department sent another document for you to take a look at. You don't have to look at it. The job is yours either way. Would you like to see the concept art gallery? Yeah, I'd love to see the concept art gallery. Sure. Train theme. Originally, this game was going to have a train theme. You can see many remnants of it still in the game, like the tickets, stamps, and the conductor's name. It was scrapped because I preferred a more somber atmosphere, but I have some fondness for it still. I think the train would have worked perfectly. I think the train would have been really great. This is coming from a guy who's a conductor. No. Whose character is a conductor, currently. Wow. I think the train would have worked really well for it, though. I would have loved it, too. So, train car. Instead of an office, the bulk of the game would take place inside a train car. One of the issues with this setting is that train cars necessitate movement both inside and out, and I thought it would disrupt the quiet introspection that I wanted to encourage. Really, I think you could have had like some pretty somber backgrounds just kind of endlessly going over and over. But yeah, make it too fast, it could be problematic. Conductor original. Oh. The conductor originally had a more demonish design. The art style also changed a lot during development, as you can see. It started off quite chibi looking. I decided to rework the art style to better reflect the grounded characters and mature topics. I see. Oh, more concepts of the conductor. When I decided to switch the theme from train to a space like afterlife, the conductor needed a redesign. One of these designs ended up being the double pyramid that serves as the game's mascot. I still have an endearment for these designs, especially the Atom one. That one's scary, bro. What the fuck? I like these, like, biblically accurate designs. They're very interesting looking. Office sketch. The gazebo, is that correct? Yeah, it's a gazebo. Office's original sketch, complete with a sketch of Claire. This setting was actually inspired by an anime I love where a jobless recluse attends rehabilitation meetings at a similar looking location. Does that description sound familiar? I actually don't know that game. Does anybody else? Or anime. Does anybody know about that anime? Like, anybody have an idea? Character sketches. Oh, wow. You could have had her, like, right after the car accident. Wow. Okay. But most people didn't change very much at all. Except for maybe the bully. Was this the bully chat? No. Who is this? This is the school shooter. Is that just an extra character? There's the commander. There's the CEO. Character sketches. Joan was originally going to keep her wounds after death. You may also notice an unused character. Oh, okay. He was going to be Joan's drug dealer, but was scrapped because I didn't find his situation to be an interesting moral dilemma. Yeah, it's pretty fucking clear cut and dry. I think the most interesting character that they could have had probably was like, I think even the bully wasn't like that. Like, yeah, the bully didn't kill anyone, but he was still a piece of shit. So, like, what the hell? You know, I still think you're a pretty big piece of shit if you drive people to death, you know? On purpose. You know, on purpose is completely fucked up. Who was it? Who was it that I wanted to see? Fuck. Who did I say? I said somebody would be really interesting. No, not her. Oh, the sister! That's right, her sister! That would have been really nice to see. That would have been really cool, I think. Or maybe one of his workers. I feel like if this author watches anime, the concept may be heavily inspired by Death Parade. Yeah, I was gonna say Death Parade was jobless recluse who attending rehabilitation. I don't think this is very Death Parade, but yeah, I think Death Parade, yeah, the old woman's sister, I think that would have been really cool to see. You know? Because it could have been like, maybe it could have been like someone who, like, the sister could have been like, yeah, I'm abused, but I also manipulated my sister for, like, money and stuff because of that relationship I had with her. It could have been like something like that, and that would have been really interesting to see. Could have been like, yeah, I manipulated my sister, even though she, like, abused me. I didn't care. No, it doesn't match the description, yeah. But Death Parade is definitely very reminiscent of something like this. Punish Forgive. Early concept for the Punish Forgiven system, the player would pull one of the two ropes to decide their verdict. This was scrapped because I found the stamp and ticket to be more tactile and fun to interact with. Yeah! Stamp drafts. Sketches with the personality stamps. There was an alternate design for the capricious stamp that was meant to have a horned appearance. Okay. Exit. Okay. Soul Sorter Clock. Employee ID. Welcome to the sorting team. Here's to a productive eternity. Productive eternity. Thank you so much for playing. End the game. That was a cool little game. I really enjoyed it, actually. It was nice. It wasn't bad at all. It wasn't bad at all. Like, I actually think it was a really interesting game. I'd love to see what the other characters' answers, like, questions could be. I'm not going to play it again. Check it out yourself, okay? I'll leave a link in the description for it. The game's like $1, I think, like $1, maybe like $2. I think it was a great game. I think it was a little more complex than I think I could have, obviously, it's a small game. It's not going to have unlimited characters and questions like that. But I do think it had some good introspection on yourself at the end. I think some of it was pretty on point. I think some of it was nice to see. And it was interesting. Interesting to kind of see where my morals were. Interesting to share them with you guys. To see how you guys felt about characters. I know some of you guys were a lot more... I know some of you guys were a lot more executioner style than I was. A couple of you guys were, like, very quick, like, you should just hit the button clock. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna talk to them, you know? So, I thought that was really cool. Love personality test. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool game. The art was nice, and the music I felt like was very fitting. I like the biblically accurate angel stuff theme. Train would have been pretty cool, I won't lie. I would have just sent them all to hell. Did we send anyone to heaven, chat? Who did we forgive? We forgave the incestuous sister, because we didn't find out if she had a younger sister or not. Obviously, she was probably, like, at least a year younger or something. But, so we forgave the incest person. And who else did we forgive? The business guy, the CEO. And that's honestly the last person I would have fucking forgiven, dude. I don't, but some people, you know, some people really are like, if you're a billionaire, you should just die. Give up all your money, you know? And I do believe that to be a billionaire, I do believe you've already done some horrible things. Because I do not believe someone can be a self-made billionaire in the sense that they did it all themselves. You have to step on people. And when I say step on people, I mean, like, you have to be running, like, you have a sweatshop in fucking China. Like, Nike, tons of sweatshops in Asia, you know? Elon Musk, he's got the fucking children mining batteries, you know, in China, you know? All these horrible things. Like, you have to be okay with doing these things, you know? Millionaire, I think you can probably get away with being a millionaire in, like, America or something, without having, like, horrible business standards. But billionaire, you're definitely there. You're, like, 100% there. There's no way that you're a billionaire and there isn't some part of your business that's just hugely incorrect, like, hugely morally wrong. Either horrible things or a monopoly on life-changing inventions. Yeah, that's like another thing. Like medical industry is like insane. Like how they like prevent things from being made or saving lives. Like if he had fucking said he was a billionaire CEO of a medical company, I would have been like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. He said he was a retail company, and I didn't get the like a chance to ask him like what kind of retail. I assume clothing. So maybe he ran sweatshops. I didn't get the chance to get like that out of him. That's why I think 3 questions is kind of lame, but it's easier for them to build the personality, you know, off of that. Because that's also an aspect, like which questions do you decide are more important than the others kind of thing. So that's kind of important for the game to help like decide things, but yeah. Anyways, like normally I don't like billionaires and millionaires, CEOs and stuff. I don't like them at all. And yeah, like you said, throwing money at an issue does not help all the time, you know? That's why I think CEOs, instead of I still think CEOs should do philanthropy work. Like, I think that's really important. But I think, like, CEOs and stuff who have profitable businesses should really have, like, hiring and better hiring standards and, like, community outreach programs to help bring people up on their feet and to give them a job. You know, a retail company would probably be really good at that, you know, hiring people, homeless people, people down in their luck, that kind of thing. Eat the rich to feed the poor. I know that's like a really popular thing right now. Give better employee benefits, things like that, you know. I wish one of the questions was, have you ever taken a pay cut so that your employees could live better? That would have been an amazing question to ask, because I do think some of the best CEOs and the best companies out there are ones that give big bonuses to companies. A really good example is Nintendo. As much as I give Nintendo shit, they're actually really great to their employees. And at one point, their CEO actually took a huge pay cut to make sure that their company didn't have to fire anybody during a down period. So he took like a huge pay cut, and they gave the money out to the people. I get paid $1 more than my employees. Yeah. Well, obviously. Yeah. Obviously, that's not even that much more, right? So, like, then, thank you for correcting yourself. I was about to ban you. I was about to shoot you. Thank you. I appreciate the proper grammar. But yeah, anyways, you know, so I think for like a CEO, I would have liked a question like that. You know, something a little bit more like, what have you personally done for your employees, you know, to make this pay discrepancy not so bad. But he did do philanthropy work. We couldn't go much deeper into it. They're great to their employees, except for when they have to hire new employees to make a better product. Yeah, and, you know, also when the company Nintendo's, like, really bad at attacking other companies and stuff like that. But anyways, thank you for watching, everybody. If you agreed with my morals, if you don't agree with them, let me know in the comments below. I'll read them. I'll check it out. Tell me what you thought about some of the characters. Give me your defenses for them, whatever. I'd love to know. I feel like most people, I feel like that the biggest problem with this game was I feel like most people in this game were pretty undefensible. Like, most of them were pretty shit people. Like, and the personalities they had were pretty bad too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day. My name is Clock, if you forgot. If you're new here, please click that like button and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. If you like this video, I actually don't have any other personality tests on the channel. We got lots of visual novels and other horror game stuff on the channel, so if you like that sort of thing, you can check it out, but there's nothing really exactly like this. But I thought it was pretty fun. We do deal with games with morality problems in them, and I usually do talks about it. I like talking about that sort of thing. I took a lot of philosophy in high school, and I took it in university too, so really enjoy that kind of talk. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. I forgot my own outro there for a second. Forgot my own outro, broskies.